Cannot show evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point of time. What? You lie. Chief Grant, you opened my safe. I know you took the conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Grant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? Is he just gonna give himself up? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as a murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then that way she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Skye. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with this crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. This jar, see this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. You didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, let's say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too. Ho ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, right? So you admit to it then, Chief Grant, that you were hiding the cloth that you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here. So, alright, so this time we do show it. Alright, then let's see. The evidence should show. Oops, not that. Go back. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut off this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At least you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests to be immediately sent to lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, you're as slow as the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? But Mr. Wright? Do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. Should be okay. Should be okay. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to? Emma? Emma Skye? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma, but why? Why didn't you tell me? It's okay. Ho ho ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true, tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster, Miss Skye. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it's over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Grant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you asked? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. None of them have eyes from a distance. But Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Grant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Oops, not that. You can't just show that to everybody, buddy. And what exactly is it supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of this vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait. There's no blood on it. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Grant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armorer's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with victim's blood. A jar that they then broke in purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! Yes. It's finally all over. We win? We good? We did it? We go woohoo? Oh shit. Oh. Oh, that was close, Wright. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth? Is illegal evidence. Order, order. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Edgy? Earlier, old Wright here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Wright? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Ho ho. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Grant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I don't know. Let's find out so we can get through this, because I'm tired. I admit, I refused to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Grant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Ajit, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved on this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingers were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And, here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just one look at this picture and... Sorry, but you can't... But can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No, he's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Grant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. No. It was then you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who could be. Damon Grant, the killer was you. Oh, he's going nuts. Okay, calm down. Oh. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna pause that vacuum because it's gonna get loud if I don't. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, and I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, the cursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurriedly wiped it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on the Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. But leaving the prosecution car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out, so he took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it, you and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to get it alone. Try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, gee. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Grant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here. And Worthy, with those two around. You can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Grant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Skye, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Grant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Skye. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you might make it to the top. She smiled. Owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Skye. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. Stop flirting with me, ma'am. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. The trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. She is free. Well, this trial has gone far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty. You guys might want to go through your whole damn system. You got a lot of corrupt people in this office. That is all. This court is adjourned. February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. Excuse me. No, that's not it. Just now, after I did. I can see why Maya Faye thought so highly of you. Owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over the feedback day. You've done well. She's smiling. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh. Yes, I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around a while on duty? And to top it off, you called me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana. Shouldn't you be doing this? Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Grant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No, huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis. I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. You silly, silly girl. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a bright future. A brighter future. Brighter future? I cannot. Future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me. Thank you both for all you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right? Edgeworth. Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth? Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Grant was right. You despise criminals, you can feel it, we're the same, blah blah. I do despise criminals. I planned to dedicate my entire life to fighting them, but in order to fight crime of my own, I needed a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be quite true for some time. My nose itches again. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Grant did. That thought terrifies me, that's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Grant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said, in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Yeah, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Friendship? That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Miss Picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends I need to be wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. Bye. I better get going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. Are we done? And also, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this, but I thought you said it was... Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks in the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, haha. You see, Mr. Wright, here's the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Ha 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 ha. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Arrange for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to steady under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days as prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Yikes, I thought I was goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, I'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. Poor Mr. Gumshoe. Yeah. Being a floating head now. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them though. Someday I'm gonna make it. Yes, sir. Then I can just be like Dick Gumshoe. I have no chest. Not much updating on that guy. Streamer becomes ghost. I don't know why, because it's a yellow shirt, so it shouldn't... It's not green. Not like my actual thing, so it's like, What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu, the Right Way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Fair point. Brandon Gay, Kaori Funakoshi. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see what his name... What was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing or something or other for, how many years? Well, anyway. I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Hey, we see his chair for once. Very red. Translation. Bound Global Studio. J. Patrick Riley, Yuli Kim, Steve Anderson. Yoko Muto, Alexander O. Smith, Philip Soldany. Ah, nothing soothes the soul like a fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Oh, see you around, Nick. Kimio Yamazoe. Keiji Kubori. Tomohiro Masura. Hideaki Karagiri. Kentaro Ohira. Reihei Koyama. Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. What's going on? Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Cute. I think that was the end of the first game, though, so... Yep. Right, so we did it. We finished the first one. Okay. So I clicked new game. Oh yeah, so next time we'll be doing Justice for All. But I need to do some stuff before work again, so thanks for watching. Bye-bye.